What did you think of the movie?
I'm gonna assume you're talking about the Marvels.
I am.
I liked it. I mean, well, okay.
Oh.
I'll say I thought it was fun.
Okay.
It's a fucking mess. Like, structurally, this movie it's insane. It's like it's paced so fast, and I get that like it's short. And I'm glad that it's short, but I also think that actually this is one of those very rare instances where a Marvel movie should probably be a bit longer. Because I think like they try to land some emotional moments that just don't work because the arcs don't have enough time to breathe. Like all the arcs have a good setup, and I think the payoff makes sense, but the payoff doesn't land because they don't develop any of it in the middle of the movie. It just goes at like breakneck pace. That being said, though, I think this movie is hard carried by Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. She's I mean, she's incredible. Like she's so good as this character. I loved her in the show.
Okay, yes. Okay, so see, you liked the show. I hated the show.
I did like the show.
Maybe I won't like her as much even here.
Yeah. Oh, so you haven't seen it yet?
No.
Gotcha. Okay. So I will say, I think because I saw it with a friend, and he said that he liked Miss Marvel in this movie more than in the show. Okay. I don't agree, actually, and that's not due to Iman Vellani. I think she's great in both. I just think that I don't think her character landed for me quite as much as it did in the show. That being said, I still think she's by far the best part of this movie. Because this movie's bombing, and I think
I saw that. I could see that.
I think it's a bit of a bummer. I think it's definitely better than the first one. And because it's just less generic and bland, and there's like some actual fun stuff in it. And I hope that Marvel realizes how fortunate they are to have Iman Vellani on board, because she's like this. I think this character's great, and I think she's great as a character. I can't talk about the mid-credits scene, but it's very cool. And I also think the last sequence of the movie, or the last scene of the movie, which also involves Miss Marvel, is a lot of fun and also very cool in what it sets up for the future. But I also know I know Iman Vellani is a big comics fan, so just putting this out there. If you happen to be listening to this, Iman, which I know you absolutely are not, you ever want to come on the show and talk about comics, you are more than welcome to. We can talk about the Miss Marvel series that she wrote, because I genuinely would love to hear her process on that.
So, you haven't read it though yet.
I haven't read it. I mean, I haven't read it because I'm not caught up on X-Men stuff. But I hear it's good though, genuinely. So I'm excited to get into that and read that at some point. Regardless, though, I think it's not, again, the pacing in this movie is ridiculous. The structure, I think, is a complete mess. Scenes just sort of seem to happen for no real reason at a lot of points in the movie. But I've had fun with it. I think also the first action sequence is really fun, where they're first learning, like realizing that their powers are switching, but they haven't met up yet.
Okay, gotcha.
And so they're all like switching between different locations, and the disorientation that creates, and just the fact that they're all like, what the fuck is happening? And they're trying to like figure out, and like they're teleporting into the middle of and out of fights just constantly. It's very fun I think it's a very well executed action sequence. So yeah, genuinely, I think it was pretty fun, and I would definitely see it again. I'm not gonna rush to see it again, but like if somebody was like, hey, do you want to come watch the Marvels with me? I'd be like, yeah, for sure. I'll it's like a 6.5 out of 10 for me, I think.
Okay. Interesting.
I would say to you specifically, Sebastian, and to everybody, I genuinely think like people should see this movie. Also, it's like doing like the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is like 85%, which is that's much higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
considering how much a lot of people just really hate Brie Larson, for whatever reason, I was kind of shocked to see that the audience score was so high. But I think it's fun. Also, Carol has an actual personality in this movie, which I think also helps. So she has like 4 different personalities. Like it's like jumping around between a whole bunch of stuff. But I think it's an improvement over the first one. So anyway, I think it's good. Well, I can't say that I think it's good, but I had fun with it. That's what I'll say.
All right. No, I mean, I plan on watching this. I just haven't yet. I have to wait for my dad.
Did you watch Loki?
I did. I finished Loki.
I have not watched the finale, so.
Oh man!
I heard it's great. I know. I heard it's great. I'm gonna get to it probably tonight.
Oh man! It's really good.
Yeah. I've heard the finale is very great. I think season 2 is on a whole weaker than season 1 from what I've watched. I still like it, and like Kiwi on incredible addition.
Yes, I think so. I agree with you, but I enjoyed the ending more for season 2.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I am looking forward to it. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Earth's Mightiest Comics. This is the show where myself and Sebastian talk about the new comics of the week. We we give our opinions on them. We say whether we like them or not, and recommend them or not, and all that stuff. This week, definitely higher volume of comics than the past week was, but I don't know how much I have to say on a lot of these, so this may not be that long of an episode either. Either way, some stuff we'll be talking about is the new Punisher series. Not just new series, but there is a new person who is the Punisher now. Then Batman is going on, a bunch of DC stuff, new issue of G.O.D.S, and then there's some other stuff in there, including what we're going to be starting with this week, which is Thanos #1, written by Christopher Cantwell and with art by Luca Pizzari. This is, as it says on the cover, the return of the Mad Titan. Except, is it really though? Because Thanos is barely fucking in it.
Yeah, honestly, it sets up his return.
Yes, and he does have technically 3 lines in it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think this was terrible, but it's strange how this is just completely like Thanos is not the main character in it, which is kind of fine.
Not for this, not for this first one at least. I don't know if it's gonna go like that for all of it,
right?
But
well, I think also it's kind of fine to not have Thanos be the main character because it is like he's a big villain that's kind of this big mysterious dude, and with these big grand motivations. And so I get that making him the focal point is not necessarily always the way to go, and it could be more effective to show him from an outside perspective and being like, here's the look at how much power he has, and he's such a big threat and all that stuff. But when he's not even really in the issue, it does kind of negate that effect a little bit, I think.
Yes.
And I think the other problem is that the person who it focuses on is just someone who I think is fundamentally uninteresting right now. The character named Roberta something, except maybe her name is Marie, because somebody keeps being like, "You're Marie, I thought I lost you," or whatever. So that's something, I guess. That's a mystery. There's a weird extended sequence where she just talks about essentially a Bachelor type show in narration about this it's such a, I don't know how that really relates to the actual plot of this issue.
Yeah.
But it's a very lengthy sequence, and I'm just like, why the fuck are we spending so much time on this? I also, Fresno gets Sokovia'd by Thanos. Gets just cut out of the earth and brought up because I guess Thanos is looking for Roberta for some reason. We don't know why.
Oh, you don't know why?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you know why?
I think I know why. Yeah.
Why? Is it death?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's who Roberta is.
Okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense then. And if that's the case, I will partially retract my criticism of the fact that this character is uninteresting. But at the same time, she kind of is.
I mean, right now she definitely is.
Yeah,
she's just
right.
what was that? Like a gas station, I want to say.
Something like that. Yeah. No, it's a pharmacy. Sorry, it's a pharmacy.
Hey, see, there you go.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell. It's really gray in there.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I don't think the art is all that great. It's not terrible, but it's
not. I think the characters were drawn well, but the background was a bit dull in my opinion.
I think Thanos' face looks a little bit funky in this, to be honest.
I didn't even honestly the 2 panels we got of Thanos.
Right. Yeah.
Over so fast.
And then also the Illuminati shows up, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to talk about something." And then they're like, "We need to survive because Thanos is attacking now."
I didn't know Blue Marvel was in the Illuminati now.
I think he's a recent addition.
Okay, yeah, because that caught me off guard.
And I don't know if Emma is typically in the Illuminati either. I think typically that's Charles. I think she's gonna take on his spot.
I think that's what I assumed, because she's also psychic and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And I also think, and listen, I'm not caught up on Fall of X, but from what I understand is happening over there, Charles is very much not available for the Illuminati right now. So I don't know if Emma is or not, but
well, didn't her and Iron Man get married?
Yeah, they're currently married.
Yeah, so
as far as I don't know. I think it's kind of like a performative marriage. From what I understand, again, having not read any of it, but that's kind of my impression. So anyway, yeah, and then also, yeah, Tony, Doctor Strange, and Reed Richards are all on the team as well. And actually, yeah, on this site, it does list Death as a character, despite the fact that she does not like really show up. So that probably is Roberta. I don't know. It's fine, and I think it could go in an interesting spot.
Yes,
but I think if I didn't have, like, if they didn't at the end be like, yo, we got to just survive because Thanos is attacking, this would not have done anything for me. I think it's fundamentally kind of uninteresting other than that. And I think that's kind of a problem. I might check out the next issue.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I was a bit uninterested. I was mostly uninterested for most of it, honestly. Like, nothing really happens besides the fact that Fresno gets Sokovia, and even like I think it was like Thanos like discovering that she was like down there or whatever. It was like super choppy because it like kept skipping back and forth, and it was like I was trying to figure out what exactly was like what was like her deal first, and then it just started cutting to like his ship, and then like him going over there, and then all of a sudden he got Sokovia, and then all of a sudden the Illuminati's there. It's just like not that it moved fast or anything, but it just felt like choppy in that sense. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna check out the next one to see where it goes, because I mean the next one supposedly has Hulk in it,
which is strange because he's not involved in this one at all, and it looks like the Illuminati fight isn't until issue 3. So
yeah, so maybe next issue the Illuminati just sticks the Hulk on them or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Hopefully Thanos is more involved in the next issue as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I gave it a 6.
I also gave it a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a 4-issue mini. The cover makes it seem like a big deal. It's like the return of the Mad Titan.
Yeah.
The title was the title page was like, he's been missing and presumed dead since the Guardians shot him into a black hole. And it's like, well, he was just in the recent Eternals run in a very prominent role. So it's not like he's not been gone for that long. So the big like, he's back didn't really land for me.
Let's do Dark Ride.
Okay, Dark Ride number 9. Same creative team, Joshua Williamson, Andre Bresson. This is essentially just a Halloween-centric issue, where we see kind of her frustrations with her family and not being like appreciative of her as a person, and also like what she brings to the park, like just being completely overlooked. And then you get a sequence where a crazy fan shows up at Devil Inn and is like, "Hey, Halloween, you're the best. We were in kindergarten together, I guess. And now I made you this costume and I want to be in your show as like Prince Charming or something." Like a very like obviously crazy person just shows up and is like, "Yeah, let's hire me for your show." And Halloween's like, no, thank you. Fuck off, please, if you would. And then he's like, "Hey, what's that all about? I'm gonna kill you now and attempt to strangle you or something." And she's like, "All right, I'm gonna decapitate you. I'm gonna cut your head off." Is that what happened, or did his face just get bashed in?
It was a screwdriver.
Like clean off.
It was definitely like smashed and like smushed, but like the screwdriver also like was like cutting him. So I think it was like a mix of both.
Anyway, that's kind of all that happens in this issue.
Yeah, I mean, we got a pretty big reveal at the very end.
That's true. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, where it turns out that Sam and Halloween's dad sold their souls to the devil instead of his or their mom's.
Yeah, and Halloween knew about it though too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do wonder when she found out about that, because Sam was just like, "What the hell?"
Because obviously we knew that he had made a deal with the devil. And we assumed the entire time we had assumed it was for the mom's soul because of everything that had happened. And so the fact that Halloween knew it all along is just, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like what exactly is
To be
behind
fair,
that.
I think she's kind of seemed to be more involved with Devilland than Sam has for most of it, unless I'm misremembering. Because again, this series has kind of an inconsistent publishing schedule.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that like Sam is the one that actually works in Devilland while she's just been in LA, for her to just come back recently, it's just like the fact that she knows that, like, I don't know, like, yes, she seems to be more in tune with like the darker side of it, I would say.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's just the fact that she still knew about it and didn't say anything.
Anyway, though, this series it's still good. Like, I don't
Yes.
know if I've got too much to say on it, but continues to be very solid. You know, I think this is one of the best things that Joshua Williamson is writing right now. That being said, like, he's writing a lot, and I don't think any of it's bad. I think that, you know, because it's this, Superman is very good, and then Green Arrow, which I don't think is amazing, but I think it's not terrible. I think it's fine. And I think he's also, I know he's doing a bunch of Energon universe stuff coming up as well. He's writing the Duke and Cobra Commander series that are coming up. But yeah, again, I really don't have much to say on this. Because not much happens, but I do think it was quite good, and I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I also don't have much to say. Like, besides the big reveal, nothing really happened.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along, let's do Shazam. This is Shazam number 5. Mark Waid on writing, and Dan Mora has both a story credit, and he's obviously the main artist. Yeah, I mean, still good. I don't think I liked this one quite as much as some of the previous ones.
Yes.
You know, I think it's still good. I just think some of it just felt like there's a lot going on here, and it just kind of felt almost overwhelming.
They did fit a lot into this one, yeah.
Yeah, because there's like the whole Guard-Uach thing, and then also Queen Bee and their conflict with each other, and also both of their conflict with the Shazamily. And then there's also the fucking ape guys that are involved.
Yep.
And then it's also like Freddy is like, "Yo, I'm gonna take the Shazam powers now because Billy is not using them properly or whatever."
And then there's also the moon.
Yeah,
in general.
Right, and then like the gods are still doing their thing. So
yep.
There's kind of a lot, and I think, you know, to the credit of these guys, it's juggled as well as it can be, I think. And again, it still looks spectacular. Like, this is one of the best looking books on the stands. It's from the same, you know, Mark Waid and Dan Mora are also doing the Batman Superman World's Finest book, which I'm not caught up on, but like it's also, you know, it's also good. So yeah, again, this is something that I don't have a lot to say on because partially just because there's so much happened that it kind of just washed over me. And as a result, not a ton of it stuck with me. I did like that Mary Marvel got involved in this issue.
Yes.
She didn't do a whole lot. I would have maybe liked to see her actually do more in the story, but it's cool to, you know, it's good that she at least got somewhat of a role to play, because I do think her Night Terrors miniseries was one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of all I've got on this one, I think.
Yeah, the last one, the previous one, Shazam number 4, felt it felt better overall in this one, especially introducing just some of the characters. But I think Mary Marvel had her impact there while helping Billy realize that the gods were actually like taking control over him. You know,
I do like that she just immediately figured that out. She's like,
yeah, exactly.
What's happening? Yeah.
You know, her wisdom side was like, yeah, I know exactly what's going on here. But yeah, I think the panel with him stopping the moon from rotating was a fun little like just bit of him just like literally just trying to fucking like hold the moon in place.
Yeah. Kind of like when Superman travels back in time by rotating the Earth or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the way it started spinning was kind of dumb, but whatever. In reality, that would not work that way. It would literally just fly off. It wasn't even attached to the moon. It just fucking acting was just on
yeah,
top
but
of
Sebastian,
it.
in reality, there wouldn't be a kid who has magical wizard powers.
No,
who
I
turns into a big
understand that,
flying-
but they could have made it like it got lodged in the moon or something. I don't know. It literally was just sitting on top, but whatever. Yeah, and then besides that, the battle itself was just like hectic as all frick because it was literally just Shazam versus Garglax, and then Queen Bee came in by saying like yelling, "Your prison shit. I escaped and now I'm back." And then she got punched in the face by Mary, yeah, and then I don't even know what to remember how happened to Garglax at that point, but yeah, fucking the apes were just like fricked off and they found the thing, and I don't know, it was just everywhere. But I still enjoy the art, and I think the whole story behind the gods taking like each god taking control over Shazam was interesting, and I think where it's going now could be fun. They could have some fun with it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
That being said, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I still think it's good. I just didn't like it as much as some of the previous ones.
I gave it an 8.
Apparently, Batmite is in the next issue, so.
Oh, brother! All right. In my never-ending quest to read all of these,
Yes.
I have read "What If Dark Tomb of Dracula."
I cannot wait to hear, because I already know I've seen your score on it. I cannot wait to hear you rant about this book.
And no, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I do this to myself still, because most of these have been really bad.
Yeah, you haven't. I think you've liked what, maybe 2 of them.
I have right. So Moon Knight, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like the ones that I've talked about that I remember talking about at least has been Moon Knight.
Loki,
I didn't like.
I know. No, that you liked. Okay.
That I liked.
Yeah.
Moon Knight. Because I don't remember talking about. Pretty sure I didn't talk about Spider-Gwen. I really like that one.
No, I don't remember. Yeah.
And I remember I talked about the What If Venom, I think is what it was, right? That was the one with the thing. That one was really good because that one was actually dark. People fucking died in that one. That was like dark. But yeah, dude. Oh man, this one was bad. It was bad. It is literally all it is what if Blade, so Blade, you know how Blade got created, he became a half vampire, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Essentially, while he was a half vampire, what if Dracula bit him again and made him into a full vampire?
Okay.
But the full vampirism didn't take place right away. So all it is literally just Blade tracking down and killing Dracula and then committing suicide to not turn into a full vampire.
Huh.
That's all it is.
Okay. Yeah.
And it
sounds great.
So bad. Because the entire story is just Dracula going around complaining about the fact that he has no control over anything. He can't control Blade, even though he's of him. He's trying to track down the dude right. It starts with him trying to kill the last vampire hunter or whatever, and he survives. And so it's literally just him being I can't do anything because this guy is still out there. And
is it Quincy Harker or is
it?
Yeah,
him. And it's so bad. It's literally just him going from place to place, Blade tracking him down, him escaping, and then being I know where Blade is because he's of my blood. I can sense him. At the very end, Quincy Harker did something where the sense got whacked out, and it was he thought Blade was somewhere else when he was literally right in front of him. And it's just, yeah, he decapitates Dracula, and then they blow up the compound with Blade still in it. That's it.
Okay.
It was bad. It was boring, and I really did not enjoy it. The only good thing about it, some of the art, it wasn't even all of it, but man, I really don't have a lot. I don't really have a lot of good things to say about this. I'm the art was a stretch for me, and that's
yeah.
Man, I was gonna lower it. I'm giving it 2 stars.
Okay. Are you gonna read the next one? You have a bit of a break, Sebastian. The next one's not till the last week of February. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if Venom?
What if Venom? Yeah, I saw that one. That one's about what if Venom got attached to like several different people. Like
Yeah,
it's the
5 of them.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna keep reading them. The last one of Venom was pretty good. So
Okay. Yeah, the thing with that, so because I didn't read What If Dark Tomb of Dracula, obviously, because I didn't think it would be good. But it sounds a lot like tonally a lot like the original Tomb of Dracula series from Marvel Comics, which was written by the same person. This is written by Marv Wolfman. He wrote that original series. That series for the 70s, I think, was quite good and groundbreaking in a lot of ways. But I'm assuming he didn't really update it much for modern times, which is, I think, the problem with a lot of times when you have writers who worked during that period come back and write stuff now. It feels like it's still very dated, even though it just came out. Obviously, I don't know if that's the case because I didn't read this one, and I'm assuming you don't know if that's the case as well, Sebastian, because you never read the original.
I've never read the original. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I can't imagine that was very good. Okay, moving on. I'll do one that I read that Sebastian did not read. Transformers #2. This is both written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. This is really good. I like this one a lot. I think it's better than the first one. My favorite sequence from this was by far, there's a sequence in the air where two like fighter jet dudes come in and try to take down who I'm assuming is Starscream. That being said,
the one on the cover, then it is Starscream. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is the thing. I was hoping you would have read this one because I don't know who a lot of these Transformers are just based on them. Because I never watched the cartoon. I didn't watch Rise of the Beasts. I only watched some of Bumblebee. So like the ones where the movies where the Transformers actually look like the actual Transformers are not the ones that I've seen. I've only seen the crab-faced Michael Bay ones. But that sequence is really cool. And like Starscream fucking obliterates one of them, and then the other dude does this really cool like ejection maneuver, and then he flies over like Starscream's head and like shoots him in the face with some like big disrupting gun thing, and then he parachutes out, and then it zooms in on his name tag, and it's Duke from G.I. Joe. So that's quite cool, tying into the upcoming Duke series in the Energon universe. Did you read the first one, Sebastian?
The first Transformers?
Yeah.
No, not yet. I think
okay. You gotta get on these because it's. I know you like Void Rivals now, and
yeah, I know. I've got to catch up with this one.
Yeah, but so yeah, it's good, and I also think the start of this is also very good. Because it's kind of a complaint I had with the last one, and I didn't talk about it because we didn't record that week. But a problem I had with the first one, first of all, was the fact that I couldn't tell who anybody was except for like Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, and then Bumblebee died very early on in the first one, so you know, then I could only tell who Optimus Prime was. So, but also the other part was it was so action heavy, and because it was very action heavy, and I didn't know who anybody was, it felt just very overwhelming. I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?" But the start of this issue takes a moment to slow down and have Optimus just like looking out at the Earth and being like, "Whoa, this place is really cool." And then we have a really sad moment where he steps on and kills a Bambi accidentally because he's so big. But then I think it also then shows like, and again, I haven't watched the original Transformers stuff, but I know that like Optimus is all about like pacifism when he can, and like peace, and he just like he doesn't want to kill anybody, he just sometimes has to. And so I think this point where he's you know, just after he steps on the deer, he like picks it up and starts trying to like, you know, pet it and kind of comfort it before it dies. I'm not sure it dies instantly. Actually, it's probably just its lifeless body that he's holding. But like it shows he like trying to be very gentle, and like he clearly is very upset about the fact that he just stepped on this deer, and and from there we get like a good kind of introspective scene where Optimus is reflecting on everything that's happened, and I think it works quite well. So I don't really quite remember how it ends. I think one of the main human characters comes home to find that her dad is dead or something. The way I said that is very matter of fact. That is kind of a big reveal, but I read that and I was like, I don't even remember who her dad is, so it really has no effect on me. So yeah, I think it was pretty good. Again, that sequence on the air with Duke was by far the coolest, I think, and so that was my favorite part there. But yeah, there was a second where I thought that this was going to be my pick of the week, but I don't think I quite got there. I did like it though. I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well.
I guess we can go on and talk about, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to put the gods?
We did talk about Gods. This is Gods number 2, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Valerio Skiddy. Yeah, I still like this series. I think it's good.
Okay, yeah, I read both of them today. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it does a good job of actually telling the story while still mixing some action in there and keeping it interesting. Which I find a lot of like I sometimes find like a lot of magic related like comics, sometimes like Doctor Strange sometimes has a hard time of doing, like keeping it interesting while still explaining the magic behind everything. But I think this one does a pretty good job of it all.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the other thing with this is that what I'm very impressed by is Jonathan Hickman's ability to throw a lot of very high concept sci-fi stuff at you, which has not been like, this is all, a lot of this stuff is new to the Marvel universe. Like, as far as I'm aware, like I know at least like the Centum and the whole like powers that be versus the natural order of things. I like that all is, as far as I'm aware, new to this series. And so the fact that he's throwing all of this stuff at you, still leaving some questions here and there to make it interesting, but then explaining things in a way that's not confusing the shit out of people, I think it's very impressive. I think these 2 issues are about the same level of quality, but I would say I probably slightly prefer the second one. Mostly because in the first one, there's that point where Doctor Strange, actually, I don't think it's Doctor Strange even, where Wynn goes on that like series of fetch quests to get that stuff to take down the dude. And I was just like, okay, I kind of get the point here. Like, I don't know if we need to see all of this.
Well, okay, yeah, keep on.
That being said, I think the high point of issue 1, that conversation between Wynn and Aiko in the bar, I think that's better than anything that's in this issue. That conversation, I think, was just expertly written and paced, and the dialogue all just was really working. And I think, in this issue, because we have Doctor Strange and Wynn and Dimitri trying to figure out what's going on with that Cubist core dude.
Yes.
And then also, at the same time, Aiko going and recruiting a new character whose name is, I think it's like Mia. Yeah, it's Mia something. And so, yeah, it's her being recruited by Aiko because I guess she's got some latent magical abilities that that Aiko wants to study and figure out from the avenue of science, because that's what these Centum are all about. So, and I think that sequence between Aiko and Mia works really well. Again, I think some of the magic stuff with Doctor Strange is not maybe as interesting as some of the rest of this stuff. I think the new ideas that are on display here are generally more engaging, but I still think overall that it's a very solid issue.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna disagree with you a bit there. I think I liked the first one more than the second one. I felt like the second one was super dense with the Aiko and Mia stuff. Like, that was a lot of talking in that.
The entire last half is just them,
Yeah, exactly. And I think the first one with the fetch quest was actually kind of interesting because you're understanding how Wynn kind of operates. He feels like Constantine-ish,
See, but I'm going to counter that by saying that I think we already got that in that opening sequence where he and Dimitri go and take down that like monster covenant. Because I think that was a really good introduction and showing how he works and everything. Yeah, and I think we didn't necessarily need to see that repeated in the fetch quest later on.
No, yeah, I understand that, but I found that the fetch quest was like kind of it was entertaining, especially that whole. I think that's what made it like more interesting, right? Rather than just be like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna do some magic our way out of this. He was just like, okay, I'm just gonna fuck off. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and it's just like, hey, I'm just gonna throw this book on the ground, and then that's it, bros. Yeah, because even Strange tried to do the exact same thing, and he failed miserably at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I enjoyed the first one more than this one, but not by much. It was like maybe like half a star.
Yeah.
I still really enjoy it. I think the new concepts that are being introduced are just in general more interesting than just sometimes most of the magic stuff that they try to explain to us.
Right.
In some of these comics.
How would you compare it against like Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe? Because I think those are the kind of only other Hickman comics that you've read. I think this is way better personally, but
yeah, I would say so, because some of Ultimate Invasion I didn't even really enjoy that much.
Yeah. Anyway, I gave this an 8. I think I also gave the first one an 8. First one was tricky because like the first half of the first issue, I was gonna give it a 10. Like I thought it was essentially perfect, and I think it dropped off towards the end. This one I think was a little bit reversed.
Yes.
Not that but I think this was generally this issue I think was more consistently an 8 out of 10 for me, as opposed to like 10 out of 10 for the first half and like a 7 out of 10 for the second. I think this was kind of more 8 all the way across.
Yeah. I gave this one a 7. I gave the first one an 8. So, yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the first one more, but not by much.
Yeah. All right. So I've just remembered that I actually did read another one that you didn't read. It just didn't end up on my poll because it was a last-minute pickup, and that is Petrol Head, issue number 1. This is it's written by Rob Williams, and the artist here is Pi Par. So essentially, this is a kind of big action dystopian future robot series where there's these robots. They're kind of they used to kind of make up this. They had this big event, which was like a big race between all the robots. I don't remember what the event was called, but yeah, it was like a big race thing that they would do annually. And now then it flashes forward further in the future where these robots are kind of not allowed in the main part of the city because they're like non-smog zones. Pollution is essentially just absolutely fucked the world and made the weather like completely unsustainable for human life. And so all the humans are in this like kind of big domed city where the robots are not allowed to go to, except some of them do anyway. And yeah, it kind of follows this one washed up one of those robot racers whose name is I think it's just Petrol Head, or it's just Head. A lot of people probably just call him Head. And so it's just it's him trying to do his thing, and then at the end the scientist who's trying to like make the weather all good is just like, fuck this government sucks, I'm gonna leave and take my daughter and go somewhere else. I don't really remember if they gave motivation for that or if that's just gonna be explained in a later issue. But so yeah, they do that, and then the other like robot like enforcement squad comes up and is like, yeah, we're looking for these guys, and it turns out they're hiding in Petrol Head's garage or something, and he's also making a hot rod, which he's not supposed to do. Yeah, so anyway, that's Petrol Head. I think it was okay. I saw a lot of people like really raving about this, saying that they loved it. Yeah. Personally, I did not. It didn't jump out at me that much. The art is very good. I think the art's cool, and that sequence where they actually show the race, I think was very cool. But I think generally I just didn't get super engaged by the story, so I'm probably not going to pick up the next one. But I don't think it's bad. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I think it was totally fine.
We're going to go Phantom Road. I feel like we can do this one pretty quickly.
Yeah. I made Sebastian read this one this week. So we're not talking about Phantom Road 6 because neither of us read it. I read the first 2. Sebastian read the first 1.
First 1. Yes.
What do you think about it? By the way, also Jeff Lemire is the writer and Gabriel Hernandez Walta is the artist.
Well, it's like you said when you gave it to me to read. It's super easy to read because it's mostly just there's very little dialogue. I didn't read more simply because I just wanted to read like Thanos, but I enjoyed the first one for what I read. I think I really don't have much to say because like the driver had a bad childhood. Father was a truck driver, so he I guess became one as well. I don't know if there's correlation there, but I assume so.
I think that's what it's implying. Yeah.
And yeah, he came upon a crash and he touched a thing, and is this like a different dimension or like?
So they do explain a lot more of that in the second issue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different dimension is kind of not how they. I guess kind of it is. It's essentially the way this one. So okay, do you remember the guy in the bathroom who Dom runs into?
Yes.
So they in issue 2. Dom and Birdie, which is the name of the person he picks up, they find a diner in this Phantom Road, like liminal space thing.
Gotcha.
And so they go into the diner, and that dude from the bathroom is in it, and he's like, this is a pretty weird place, right? Well, let me tell you, I got some answers here. And then he kind of goes into a long. This conversation between those two, incredible. It's so well written. It managed to like keep this weird, creepy atmosphere and giving you answers to make you kind of more engaged in the story and kind of have a better idea of what's going on, while also keeping a lot of stuff held back in reserve to give answers to later. And essentially, he's like, yeah, so there's our world and there's another world that's just beneath the surface that you can't see. And then you've got like places like this truck stop, like these truck stops, which are kind of these in-between spaces where you can pass through. And so they actually do end up passing through back to the real world at the end of issue 2. But except they essentially this dude explains that, like, yeah, that thing that you guys found and transported you to this world, you have to transport it somewhere. Just start driving east, you'll know it when you see it, essentially. And so Birdie, when they get back to the real world, is like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm just gonna run away. Like, good luck, Dom, but I don't want to get involved with this. And so she tries to run, but the farther she gets away from Dom's truck, like, she just starts feeling like intense pain. Yeah. And so cannot actually go that far from the truck. And Dom explains that he had the same thing when he went to the truck, and all the pain went away. So he's like, essentially, I think we just gotta deliver this thing, and then we'll be good after that. So that's kind of where issue 2 ends up being. But yeah.
You know, I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I'd even go as far to say this is my pick of the week.
I would almost say that. I don't feel like I can because I didn't read this week's issue.
Fair enough.
So, like, it very well could be like Phantom Road 6 could suck, and then if I was like, this is my pick of the week, then it's like, oh, well, maybe not. That being said, I think it was great. I gave issue 1 a 4. I think issue 2 is pretty significant improvement. I gave it 1 a 9. Sorry, did I say 4?
You said 4. I'm like,
I said 4. I meant 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think issue 2 is a 9 for me. I think they're both good, but I think, yeah, that conversation between the dude that Dom meets in issue 1 and then Dom and Birdie in issue 2 in the diner is just really well written and great. And I thought that was, fantastic.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I think, since this is like a liminal space thing.
God. As soon as I said liminal space, I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have mentioned that around Sebastian.
I think my rule for this one's going to be if they ever go to that liminal space, it's getting an instant 10 from me. So
okay, so this is your rule as in relation to this is evolving constantly and just adding more and more stuff to it. Because at first it was like, oh, the back rooms are in it. It's a 10 out of 10. And I'm like,
well, okay, that's a liminal space.
I know, but I'm just like, okay. Hey. I like it's a specific example. Like I think that's a little bit silly, but at the same time, I have also said similar things myself. So like whatever. Then in the call, they just talk about the liminal space, and you're like, you know what else is a liminal space? The back rooms.
The back rooms.
It's 10 out of 10. Like,
it's connected.
So okay. So now you with this one, it's now if they're in the back rooms, or if they show the back rooms, or if they talk about liminal spaces, or if they visit a liminal space, it is instantly a 10.
Yeah, because it's all connected, right? Right? They go to a liminal space. What else is a liminal space? The back rooms. It's all connected. It's a straight line. Liminal space.
You can do that with anything, though. You could be like,
boom.
You can probably get to liminal space from like Kevin fucking Bacon or something if you really think about it. So like, I don't know if that really relates, Sebastian. I don't know if that's
would not be a straight line. That wouldn't be that. This is 2 points. Liminal space, back room.
Oh God.
That's it. I've got 2 rules, right? Currently going for this new show that we have. I have 2 rules. For our last show, you had like 8. All right, so I don't want to hear.
I had 3, I think.
You had so many. I have literally
most of them relating to Rick Jones and the fucking Teen Brigade.
That is
those guys. They fucking suck.
True. I literally have 2. It's liminal space equals a 10, and if the synopsis says like Hulk versus this person and nothing happens, it's an instant 0 for me. That's all it is.
Regardless, I think my rules last time, I think the ones I remember, if Rick Jones is in it, it's an automatic 1 star. I think I actually walked that one back, though, because that's like, there's a lot of good comments that Rick Jones is in. Second rule was, if the Teen Brigade shows up, it's an automatic 1 star. I stand by that. Teen Brigade fucking suck. And then, except I think they were in the first issue of Avengers, which I gave a pass because it was the first issue of the Avengers ever. The third one, I think, had something to do with whenever Thor turned back into Don Blake and nobody noticed because of a stupid reason. That, I think, really pissed me off whenever that happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure I had more. I can't remember off the top of my head, though. Who knows if any of that will stay in. But anyway, yeah, Phantom Road is good. Okay, moving on. I'm going to talk about the Punisher issue number 1. This is, as I said in the intro, first of all, it's written by David Pepose, and the artist is Dave Wachter. David Pepose has done a bunch of stuff, including the Moon Knight City of the Dead miniseries that I read the first issue of and hated so much that I dropped it immediately. And then Dave Wachter did that recent Planet of the Apes series. He did the art for that, which I thought was very good. So yeah, anyway, this essentially follows a new character who is the Punisher now. I don't remember. Okay, his name is Joe Garrison. And he was a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and then kind of retired. And then, as with Frank Castle, his whole family got killed. And so he's like, I'm going to go and take these people down and kill my family. So he does actually kill the people who kill his family in this issue. Some dude named, I think, just the Sokovian is what they refer to him as. Although, actually, okay, so also, I don't know, do you remember this guy, Sebastian? Mr. Hyde?
Or like Jekyll and Hyde?
Yes, but he was also, because we read this in our former version of our show where we talked about the classic Marvel comics. He was a Thor villain. He was also in season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh God, how long ago did I watch that show?
He's Daisy's dad in that. Yeah, Calvin Zabo.
Okay. I remember the Thor villain. I kind of vaguely remember that one. Yeah.
So anyway, he shows up in this, and I think as essentially like a protection person for the Sokovian. So I think the new Punisher might kill him as well. Anyway, yeah. So essentially, he does kill all the people who kill his family, and then he's like, at the end, he's like, it's time to get back to work or something. And then it's like, all right, Punisher's back, and he's going to be doing some, he's going to be doing the general Punisher stuff that the Punisher does. I think it's pretty decent. That being said, I think it does kind of suffer under the similarities to Frank Castle because, like, so I think last week I said, like, Frank Castle is dead. I think that's actually not correct. I think he's in, like, fucking Weird World or something right now. But he's gone right now. He's, as far as the Marvel Universe is concerned, he is no longer around.
Yes.
So clearly, like, he will show up again at some point. I think I would be shocked if this series did not bring back Frank at all. I think it'll be a little while, but I think it will come back. But I think, my biggest problem with this issue is that this new Punisher is just very similar to the old one, to the point where, like, his whole family, his wife and 2 kids, get killed in an explosion, and he survives as he was out. And it's like, it feels too similar to the point where it's like, well, if you're gonna make it a new person, or if you're gonna make the origin that similar, why not just make it Frank instead of this new guy? And I'm not even a huge Punisher fan. Like, I don't love the Punisher as a character as much as some people do. I like
Daredevil.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's by far the best interpretation of that character is in those Netflix shows. But I do think, Frank certainly has had good comic stuff before, and so I don't dislike him. I don't think he's not a favorite of mine. But I just think it's kind of strange that they made the origins so similar. Like, he was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. That's kind of different, I guess. But even still, like, Frank was military before. And, like, there obviously is a difference in terms of, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, this dude was kind of mostly a spy, I guess. And Frank was obviously, like, in, like, real wars.
Yeah, because he was a Marine, I think, was his name?
I think so, yeah. So, there's a bit of a difference there, but it's not, like, enough to really distinguish this character. This new guy also has a guy in the chair. I don't really know if Frank did. I mean, I know Micro exists, but Micro seems to have not really been a player for the last few years. There is one part that's pretty cool where the way that Joe ultimately kills the Sokovian is he's on one side of a train in the subway. The Sokovian's on the other side of the train in the subway. Like, as it's going, like, they're on opposite sides of the tracks as the train is going between them. And the Sokovian has a hostage. So Frank is, like, trying to make sure the hostage doesn't get. Or did I say Frank? Joe. This is the problem. They're the same fucking character to me.
Yeah.
So Joe is trying to make sure that the Sokovian doesn't kill the hostage, and so the hostage is like, "Let me catch this train, and then I'll let the hostage go, and then I'll just get out of here." as the train is going through, Joe makes this insane trick shot where he shoots a bullet in between subway train cars, like through the gap as the train is moving, and then gets him and kills him. I think that was a cool shot. Yeah, that was the coolest part of the issue. I do think also the way he takes down Mr. Hyde is pretty cool. Like, it's clearly this guy's like resourceful, and there could be some cool action sequences. But yeah, I just think that this is a little bit too similar to Brian Castle. I had it at a 7. I think I'm gonna drop it to a 6. I do think it was like more good than bad, and I'm gonna keep going with it for now. But I didn't love it.
I think right. Like while there is like, it's not even like similar. It's literally the exact same backstory.
Yeah.
I think the action will be different simply because of the different like military background. And
I hope it will. I hope it will. I don't know for sure that it will be though. And I do think like this issue didn't seem as much like brute strength as Frank often can be. But again, I haven't read enough Punisher where I can really say definitively that that's the case. I've really only read the most recent run, which was by Jason Aaron. It was only 12 issues. So yeah. Anyway, 6 out of 10. Not amazing, but I will give it a little bit more.
All right. Let's go to Blue Beetle.
Okay, so this is Blue Beetle number 3. This is written by Josh Trujillo, and the artist is Adrian Gutierrez. So essentially, it's revolving around Blue Beetle calls up Tracy 13, who he used to date.
Yes.
I guess I don't know who this character is.
I have never heard of her either.
But she gets him an audience with Madame Xanadu, who essentially shows this whole prophecy thing where she's like, yo, the blood scarab is coming. You're going to die. You're going to die, Jaime. She didn't say you're going to die. She's like, you're going to fall. You alone will be able to stop him, but you alone will fall.
Yes.
And then him and Tracy go to Egypt, and they find a tomb where the blood scarab is, and they do a little bit of a fight. And that's pretty much the end of the issue. What do you think? This is the first time we've talked about Blue Beetle you've talked about Blue Beetle on the show, I think.
Yes, it is. It is the first time I've talked about Blue Beetle on the show. I really don't have a lot to say. Tracy 13 character, never heard of her. Yeah. I enjoy the art. I think there was one part specifically where I was like, yo, what is this like drawing? It was specifically when they were escaping the Egypt pyramid when it was collapsing.
Yeah.
And Tracer 13 like yelled at Jaime saying like your life is not like worth dying here. And it was just her face was drawn like just so weird. I was like
distorted. Yeah.
It was super, super weird. And I was like, yo, what is this?
I think the art is oftentimes great, but sometimes really confusing. I think a lot of the times it is very good, but it's grown on me because I didn't love it at first. It's very stylized. But there are some panels where Blue Beetle's looking like it's like those like thin, narrow panels where Blue Beetle, you just see his eyes and he's looking at it, and that looks fantastic. So a lot of that stuff looks really good, but some of it is kind of confusing.
But it wasn't even that. It was just like she was like super calm, and then all of a sudden it just went to like her straightless screaming, and I was just like, bro, how did we go from here to there? Like it just felt like super like it felt like it kind of clunked a bit there. Like it was like super fine. Like I'm gonna make this portal, then all of a sudden, like I felt like there was supposed to be more dialogue there that was just missing for some reason. And yeah, I think Blood Scarab as a villain is, I guess, interesting. I don't know. I feel like for time it's always just another scarab, you know.
So yeah, this is a problem that I haven't really encountered. This is the first Blue Beetle stuff I've essentially ever read, and so for me, I think Blood Scarab is the coolest part of this entire run so far. Granted, it's only been 3 issues, but like every time Blood Scarab is on panel, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm into it now. This is like engaging and interesting, intense.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like this is my first Blue Beetle comic, but like not the only other time, but like my first real big introduction to Blue Beetle was the Young Justice show.
Okay.
And literally, I think if I remember correctly, it was the second season. Was literally just the entire season. The main villain was just another scarab.
Okay.
And it was after Jaime, and I just feel like, Jesus Christ, man! Even the movie was just like essentially a scarab.
Kind of.
Like
not entirely, but
like, it essentially was. It was just man-made, and so yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's the scare thing is just kind of overdone at this point. But I don't know. I feel like that's, like you said, it's like the most interesting part of this anyway. So yeah, I think I want to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
It says that Xanthi has a cameo
I was about
in here.
to say the exact same thing. I was just about to say it says Xanthi has a cameo in this issue. My guess is that's probably because it says a lot of other people like Ragman and Constantine and Detective Chimp. I didn't see any of those. I'm assuming they're just in that like magical bar that Tracy works at.
That's what I was gonna say. Like maybe they're in a because even Constantine, I'm like, yo, what?
Like Frankenstein is listed.
Honestly,
like,
what the hell? I'm gonna go back and look at this.
Which that seems like I don't know if Deadman's in this issue because he is not around right now. But anyway, I do think this is pretty good though. I do think the confrontation between Jaime and Bloodscarab in this issue felt kind of abrupt and not super satisfying. And I get that this is not the final confrontation between these two.
Yeah.
But I think the action sequence between Bloodscarab and all the other people in the second issue was way better. Like it felt like really tense, like catastrophic, like, oh shit, stuff is really just everything's hitting the fan right now. And I feel like they could have like still had this be an opening fight and still make it interesting or still make it more engaging than it was. I think it wasn't quite as solid as the last one was. And generally, I think this issue is not quite as solid as issue 2 was. I loved issue 2. I think it was fantastic. This one, though, I think was a little bit just more, not even middle of the road. I think it was pretty good, but not amazing. I gave it a 7.
I also gave it a 7. Looking back at they are in the Oblivion Bar. I see Frankenstein, Chimp, Xanthi, Deadman, Constantine.
Okay, well, moving on. Let's do Birds of Prey now.
Birds of Prey.
This is my pick of the week.
I saw what you rated that.
Yeah, I think it's great. I know. Again, this is another one of those ones that went on the week that we didn't record, so I didn't talk about this then. But I had a huge issue with issue number 2, Sebastian. So much so to the point where I was like, if this issue is not good, I'm dropping the series. First of all, it's written by Kelly Thompson. The artist is Leonardo Romero. So I think the problem I had with the second issue is that it's heist setup, right?
Yes.
They're doing the heist setup, and that's fine. I don't think any of the heist stuff was particularly interesting. My problem with it, though, was structurally made no fucking sense. Just like they all split up to go do their separate heist things. But then all of the heist things they need to get are in the same place. So it's like, why split them up? It just felt like they were padding the runtime to, like, I don't know, make the arc fit better in a trade instead of just like a 4-issue trade paperback, make it like a 5-issue trade paperback.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I was like, why even fucking split them up if they're all just going to be in the same place at the end of the issue anyway? I
think, well, I was going to say, like, right, like Canary and Zealot ending up in the same place made the most sense. Like, I don't know why Barda and Batgirl, Cass Batgirl were there. I mean, like, Harley being there, sure, she just followed Zealot. That's the only reason. But, like, Zealot was going there in the first place, and then I think Canary ended up there simply because that's where Constantine had his thing. But like Barda and Batgirl, literally that one was just so they could be there. They were just like they made some bullshit story like, oh yeah, they sold it and then we just ended up here, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, my problem with it isn't even that it didn't make sense. My problem with it is just that, like, structurally, this seems like a really weird thing to do. Like, why would you even bother splitting them up as a writer if you're just gonna have them all back in the same place? Anyway, though, I think issue 3 is really great. It's essentially just the Birds of Prey infiltrating Themyscira. There's really not much more to it than that, right? I mean, they go through their own individual things, but yeah, and I think it's really well paced. I mean, the art is a little bit tricky for me because I don't know if I like it. I think I almost do, but I think the coloring is too dark.
Dark.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of times I don't really even know what's happening sometimes in certain panels because everything is really dark. Everybody's just like gray because there's shadows on them all the time, and you can't really make out like a lot of interesting vibrancy or details in the art because the coloring is kind of like, even if you just look at this cover, right? It's so red. It all looks kind of similar.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of makes it look almost fuzzy and kind of difficult to distinguish what's what and differentiate things. And it's interesting because I had the same problem with Blade, and it's the same colors. It's Jordi Belair on both. So I think that's like, and I've liked a lot of stuff that Jordi Belair has done. Like, this is not, I don't think it's necessarily an issue I have with Jordi Belair as a whole, but I think in these two series, it's like, it's kind of incomprehensible. I think the layouts are fine enough. They're not like necessarily my thing, but I think sometimes they look really good. I particularly love how Oliver is drawn in this. I think it's like really great. I think when he shows up, it's fun. But that's the other thing. Oliver showing up in this, they use him so effectively. He's in this like maybe 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah.
And I think he is written significantly better than he is in his own series right now. And I like him in that series, but I think he just works perfectly in this as a supporting character who is just trying to stall and hold back Diana from going to Themyscira as long as he can so that the birds of prey just do not get their cover blown. And it doesn't work, obviously, because Diana's Diana, and she's immediately like,
yes,
okay, what the fuck is going on here, Oliver? Like, what? You're trying to stop me from getting to Themyscira. And then I think the last page with Diana as well, really cool, where they're like, yeah, everybody fears Batman, and they should. Everybody, even though Superman's great, everybody fears Superman, as they should. But everybody only loves Diana. But, like, you should be afraid of Diana as well.
Yes, exactly.
And I think, yeah, I loved this issue. I think it was really great from start to finish. I think the heist is executed really well. I think, it's again, as I said, it's paced very well. And I think it was great.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've been enjoying this series. My one problem with it is this: I don't know when this is taking place, right? Because Green Arrow's in here. When is Green Arrow's comic taking place right now?
I don't fucking know, man.
Because obviously, in this one, it referenced the fact of like Wonder Woman's thing. So clearly, it's taking place during Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
like those are taking place at the same time. So like, is Green Arrow? When is Green Arrow taking place at this point? Right?
Well, from what you fucking told me, he's like in 4 different fucking time periods.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he should not be here now. Definitely not.
Yeah, that's stuff that doesn't really bother me as long as the underlying story is good, because they're not like outright contradicting. Like Green Arrow's not.
Yeah, I'm not like saying much. Like I'm just questioning it right now. Like, when exactly is, like, not even this one, because this one made it pretty clear. Like, okay, it's happening at the same time as Wonder Woman. Yeah. I'm more concerned like, when is Green Arrow taking place at this point?
Sure.
I'm lost.
Yeah,
I thought it was taking place at the exact same time as Wonder Woman, but no, apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't bother me because like Diana hasn't shown up in Green Arrow and been like, hey, what?
Oh, exactly.
It's crazy that the stuff in Wonder Woman's going on right now. So like that, the fact that he's here is just like, it could just be set whenever. Like for me, I have a bigger issue with it when it's like something like, for instance, when the Batman and Robin comic is set during Gotham War for some reason, even though like there's no mention of Zur, there's no mention of, I mean, there's mention of the fact that the Bat family's fighting, but like it doesn't get brought into the plot at all, when really like that is a catastrophic thing that's happening to Bruce. So like it really should be in play somewhere.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had a problem with that if they had just said like, hey, this is set either right before or right after Gotham War, but they didn't do that. So
no. Like I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with it.
Sure.
I'm just questioning when exactly Green Arrow is taking place at this point, because I just got a little, I was like, ugh. But overall, yeah, like I really, really enjoyed that confrontation between Green Arrow and Diana. I thought that was like at points it was kind of hard to follow, because like you said, it was like dark and like I was just like, what exactly is going on? But overall, I think it was really like not even paced well, but like just it came off well. With what also he was trying to do.
Ollie's whole personality there, where he
shoots
the arrow, he's like, please work.
Exactly.
And he's like, ah, shit, fuck this.
Like he it's not like Hawkeye where he thinks he can take on these like super like huge people. Ollie's like, I'm fucked right now. Like, please.
Yeah. Also, I did love that he has like he has a whole bag of trick arrows that Constantine gave him, and just like 60% of them just don't fucking work. Yeah. Anyway. I dropped it a star because of the fuzzy coloring, but I don't know, man. Part of me wants to give this a 10. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to leave it at a 9, but I really liked it. I think I'm going to stick with a 9.
I'm gonna stick with my 8.
Okay. Yeah, I Back on board with the series, though. I was worried after the second one, but I'm fully back on board with it now.
I'm enjoying this one a lot more than I thought I would, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, that leaves us with Batman 139, written by Chip Zdarsky. The artist is Jorge Jimenez, and right off the bat, before we even talk about the main story, they're not getting rid of that Vandal Savage arc, are they?
They really are holding on to that for dear life. Yeah.
Oh my god!
When I saw that side story at the very end, I was like, yo, why is he here?
I know. And it's also like he can't even leave because the meteorite's in Gotham, and apparently like his powers are tied to that now. So if he leaves, the farther he gets from Gotham, the weaker he gets.
Yeah.
And which means he's just sticking around. And like clearly they're not going to use him for a while because he's like, I'm going to wait and then like I'm going to wait to make my move. I don't really want to fight Batman right now. So I'm going to get some power here and then I'm going to take them all down. And to be fair, I have a little bit more faith in this plot coming back into play in the Batman core series because I think Chip Zdarsky is a good writer. I think he will handle it potentially better than it was handled when there were two writers on it, one of whom I don't think is a very good writer. So I do have some more hope for that, but yeah, I saw Vandal Savage pop up. I was like, fucking hell, man. I just thought that this thing was wrapped up and we wouldn't have to talk about Vandal Savage anymore, but apparently not. So the rest of this is it's a Joker story, but also Batman has been possessed by a multiverse of Zur-En-Oz. Yeah. Which doesn't really come into play until the last page, but that is by far my favorite part of this issue. Just like every so often, Bruce is doing some Batman stuff, and you just hear Zur echoing in the background.
Yeah.
You don't see him really. You see his silhouette once, but it's like it is mind-blowing to me that Zur-En-Oz is essentially a fucking horror villain in this series because the Zur-En-Oz suit is the dumbest fucking Batman suit that's ever existed. It's
a literal clown. Like it's like not like Joker clown, but like it's a clown suit.
Yeah,
realistically.
But also credit to Jorge Jimenez because he makes it look pretty cool in this.
No,
series.
like it looks great. Yeah. But like it's just something you would not ever see Batman wear.
Right. If you look at it just conceptually and you see those colors, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Like, it's the most random assortment of colors.
Yeah, but it's still somehow fucking menacing in this. It's just it's wild. So I gotta give full credit to the team for that. Because like really that should not work, but it's working really well. And I think, you know, throughout this entire Batman run so far, the Zur-En-Oz stuff is by far, I think, the most interesting element of it. And then yeah, you get some Joker stuff in this. Personally, I don't have much to say on the Joker stuff because, you know, it's the Joker. He's doing Joker stuff. I mean, the interesting part of this is that it seems that he knows that Zur is in there because he's seemingly trying to bring Zur out. We don't know why. It seems like Joker kind of wants Batman to kill him. Maybe because it would just completely like just destroy Batman and make just like fracture his entire being. Yeah. Yeah. So also, like, are there still 3 Jokers? What's going on with that? I don't really know where that development has been lately. I think they mentioned it a couple times in this, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I am glad we're getting back into just solo Batman right now.
Yeah.
Because I really liked this one. I've always liked the Batman Joker dynamic and stuff. And just introducing Zur into that, I think, is just opens like a whole new like can of worms, essentially.
Yeah.
And, man, I think I think the whole story behind Zur is super interesting. Mm-hmm. It was like completely brushed over, not completely brushed over, because that was a pretty big part of the whole Bat family fight in Gotham War.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was like, towards the end, it was like just glossed over, like it was like never really brought back up, and I'm glad we're like reintroducing it again.
Well, I think I even said last week when we talked about it, like, yeah, I'm glad they're not trying to wrap up Zur in Gotham War because I don't think they'll do it justice there. I think they need to do it in the Batman solo series. So that's what I figured it would happen. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a lot to say.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I really enjoyed reading this one. The Joker coming back, and Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I liked it. I don't think it was like this is definitely not my favorite issue of the week, and it's also I think actually, and as much as I kind of hate to say this because Gotham War was a disaster,
Mm.
I actually don't know if I liked this issue as much as I liked the core Batman issues of Gotham War. I think because that was the point where it was focused on Bruce fighting his family,
Yes.
which I think was the highlight of that event, and I think that emotionally was more resonant than anything that happened in this issue. That being said, though, I still think this is good, and yes, obviously, it's good to be out of Gotham War, and I'm glad that this can just do its own thing now. So I gave it an 8 out of 10 for me.
I also give it an 8 out of 10.
All right, well, that will wrap up the episode. Kind of a longer one, as seems to be our habit these days. This is just becoming the standard length for these episodes, it seems. But next week, there's some exciting stuff. Speaking of Batman and Robin, there's a new issue of Batman and Robin. The finale of the first arc of Blade is next week. I'm gonna have to keep reading this series, Sebastian, because I don't know if we've talked about this. There's an event coming up in April called Blood Hunt that Blade is very heavily a part of, and so is Moon Knight, and so is Miles. So it's like, and I'm reading those series. So it's like, fuck, I guess I have to read Blade to tie into this fucking event. Anyway, though, new issue of Daredevil. Looking forward to that. That's been pretty good so far. Also got the next issue of Fantastic Four, which, as I've said, I've been kind of back and forth on this series. I generally like it, but I mean, this cover, it's like, if you're listening to this on Spotify, please go look up this cover. It's Fantastic Four number 13. Look up just Fantastic Four 13, 2023. It is Doctor Doom writing a T-Rex that is also Doctor Doom. It's spectacular.
Yes.
Very excited for it. Also, new issue of Green Lantern next week. Excited for that. Mortal 4 has a new issue next week. That feels really soon. It feels like we just had issue 3, but so excited for it. And then also, Sebastian's pick of the week from that week we talked about it. Spine Tingling Spider-Man has a new issue this week as well. Anyway, you got anything to shout out on yours?
Did you say Superior Spider-Man?
No, because I will not be reading it.
Superior Spider-Man.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching or listening. If you're on YouTube, you can do all the YouTube stuff, such as liking the video. You can subscribe to the channel. You can also hit the bell notification on the channel if you would like to know when we upload new videos. You can also, if you want to let us know what you think about the current comics that are coming out and stuff that's coming up, you can leave us a comment there. Tell us what you think about all the current state of comics. If you want to do that on Spotify, you can, of course, email the show, which is Earth's Mightiest Comics Pod at gmail.com. That is all one word with no apostrophe in the word Earth's. And you can also follow the show over on Spotify there as well if you've been enjoying it and you would like to not miss an episode. So, once again, thank you everybody for listening. That'll wrap it up here, and we will see you next week.